This is Sudhakar Reddy, Assistant Professor, Department of Mining Engineering, Aditya University. Today we are going to discuss about environment impact assessment. So, in this environment impact assessment, actually this should be given by mine owners before the start of the mining. How this environment is going to impacted and how we are going to compromise or how you are going to satisfy the impacts. I mean, so how you overcome the impacts. So, these are the addressed in this environment impact assessment. So, students will able to learn what are the things covered in the environment impact assessment. So, first of all, there are some classes of mines we need to study before going into EIA, that is environment impact assessment. In case of coal mining, mining lease more than 150 hectares or comes under a, means category A, and mining lease areas of 5 to 50 hectares are classified as category B. So, it is a different classification for coal mines as well as metal mines. In case of coal mines, category A means more than 150 hectares, and in between 5 to 150, that is called category B. In case of metal mines, more than 50 is called category A, and 5 to 50 is category B. So, classification is A and B is the same, but the extent is different. For example, coal mines more than 150 and 5 to 150 is category B. In case of metal, more than 50 and 5 to 150, 5 to 50 is category B. And regarding what are the things which need to be addressed in this EIA means location of the project. So, what does this location includes means longitude, latitude, revenue, village, tehsil, all these details need to be incorporated in the EIA. And objective of this project, what is the object, whether it is new or expansion or modernization, proposed use of the minerals, any change in the technology. So, if it is a new mine or something new method, I mean to say new machinery is coming, then this environment impact assessment, if it is going to impacted, if environment is going to impacted, then you have to submit EIA. So, this EIA need to be submitted to the controller, Indian Bureau of Mines. Coming to the location, if some national park is nearby or if wildlife sanctuary is nearby, if migratory routes of wild animals, etc., these are all the things that need to be addressed in the EIA. If something of these 3 points are, and within 10 kilometers of mine lease area should be authenticated by the chief wildlife warden or project details. For example, lease area is generally called as a core area, and outside that core area, 10 kilometers of the mine lease area, it should be authenticated by the chief wildlife warden. Overall note on the mineral reserves, rated capacity, life of the mine, all these things need to be addressed. If the lease or area or buffer zone is ecologically fragile, a detailed justification is to be given. Sometimes buffer zone or lease area, sometimes it is ecologically fragile, means something is impacting some environment, then you need to, that mine owner need to give a detailed justification how they are going to overcome all these things. Stages of other regulatory clearances like approval of mining plan, forest clearance, consent to establish from State Pollution Control Board. In case of expansion or modernization, compliance of statutory authorities like SPC, this comes under Ministry of Environment, Pollution Control, Director General Mine Safety, all these things, all agencies are involved in this sense. So, every agencies, whatever it, for example, pollution control means it comes under air pollution, Ministry of Environment means generally flora, fauna, all these things need to be taken care, and DGMS means safety. So, different wings have different other jurisdictions. So, these things to be taken care by the mine owner. And again the details like solid waste dumping strategy management. So, how this solid wasting is going to get decomposed, and energy demand, how much energy is required for running these mines, water requirement, manpower requirement, capital cost estimate. These are all the 5 things which are part and parcel of EIA. And coming to digital elevation model, that is a slope map or contour map. Contour slope map as required for the study of the core zone. I already told you, core zone means inside the mining lease area, whereas buffer zone is outside the mining lease area. And site plan of the area showing the various proposed breakup of the land. Description of the project sites, geology, topography, hydrology, climate, transport, connectivity, demographic aspects, socio-cultural, economic aspects, villages, settlements, all these things, starting from the project site till meteorological data. Everything should be given importance in the EIA. And coming to the geology, whether it is a regional or local, reserves and quality of the ore with chemical composition, grade or percentage, associated minerals, if any should be mentioned, deposit conditions such as ore strength, host rock strength, shape, grade, dip, size, all these things. General description of the project with ancillary operations such as crushing, beneficiation, because some minerals need beneficiation. So, such things should be addressed in the EIA also, because it sometimes impacts the environment also. And coming to surface geological plan and leasehold area, transfer section of the mineral deposits, contour maps at intervals of not exceeding. If you are drawing contour, first of all you should understand what is contour means. It is a line joining points of equal elevation, because these contours have I mean to say horizontal space interval and vertical space interval. This horizontal space interval is called contour interval actually. So, this gap should not be more than 3 meters, because unless we want to cover accurate details, then these things should be followed. Nearness to the large water body, if some water body is there, you need to address it, and it depends upon the Indian Bureau of Mines whether they will sanction lease or not, okay, because how you are going to take care all these things. And mode of transportation of ore and waste, suppose if the ore is transported, how, through tipper or through belt conveyor, and similarly transportation of the waste, how it is going, all these things need to be addressed in the environment impact assessment. Hydrology of the area, calculation of mine seepage water, underground water, all these things. If it is open cast mine, how much intake of the water from the surrounding areas, in case of underground, how much seepage of water, all these things. So, open cast mining, deposit conditions, maximum allowable stripping ratio. This is one of the important thing actually, which decides method of working actually. So, stripping ratio means volume of ore burden to the volume of mineral. Volume of ore burden in cubic meter to the volume of mineral in tons actually, strictly speaking. It is varies with mine to mine. Sometimes for manual mining it is 1:1, for semi-mechanized mining it is 1:3, 4, 5. For mechanized mining it may be 1:5, 1:7, 1:8 like that. And your working depth below mean sea level, then it should be given very strict priority in the EIA, because you need to have a pumping capacity, full-fledged pumping capacity, because always water will be coming from the I mean to say bottommost bench. It is observed in the Neyveli Lignite Corporation. So, coming to the underground mining, deposit conditions, mode of entry, details of machinery, method of mine development, subsidence, all these things, and mine drainage. So, these are the things which need to be addressed if the mine belongs to underground. How you are going to entry, whether it is shaft or adit or incline, and details of machinery. Sometimes it may be DERD, that is double ended ranging drum shares, sometimes it may be load haul dumper, sometimes it is side discharge loaders, or else conventional mining, just drilling and blasting, all these things. And what about subsidence? How you are going to take care of subsidence? Generally, whenever you are doing underground mining, generally mining has to be proceeded with backfilling also. So, backfilling is called stubbing. Sometimes they are allowed to fall also, that is called caving. In case of caving, how subsidence is getting affected, all these things should be addressed in the EIA, Environment Impact Assessment. Similarly, mine drainage water management, how you are going to collect the drained water and how we are going to set that water out. These are all the two important things. Coming to ventilation system for adequate control of quality and quantity of air. So, if you are doing underground mining, so you see that a fresh air should reach all workers, that is the quantity and quality. So, this is one of the important thing actually. Quality means it does not contain any type of gases, whether it is a poisonous gases or inflammable gases, all these things, only fresh air should. And quantity is generally it is 8 cubic meter per minute per person, that is the specified as per ventilation standards laid out in the CMR 1957. Surface draining pattern at mine site, in case of surface, how the drainage pattern, the water should not go into the shaft through or incline. This is one of the important things. And mineral transportation outside the mining lease area, how that ore is getting transported, how the OB is getting via road or via rail or conveyor, ropeway, waterway, because some transportation creates lot of dust. For example, by road dumpers, it creates lot of dust. We need to take care of roads, that is one of the important thing. Conveyor is better, rail is also one of the better, ropeway is also better, but sometimes environment is impacted due to transportation system, that needs to be addressed by the mine owner. Similarly, beneficiation and crushing and processing, even it also damages the ecology or environment, and how it is going to be impacted and how we are going to console all these things, it needs to be addressed. Township description, this is one of the important things. Generally in mining areas, they do adapt some towns also, some villages, and they do develop also, just like water facilities, sanitation, schools, all these things, hospitals, they develop such things for benefit of welfare of the people. Power and water supply. And coming to mining lease area and core zone and buffer zone, just now we have discussed 10 kilometers radius from the boundary limits of the mining lease, more than 15 hectares should be buffer zone. 5 kilometers radius from the boundary limits. So, if the mining lease area is 50 hectares, then the buffer zone should be 10 kilometers. If the mining lease area is 5 to 50 hectares, then the buffer zone is 5 kilometers radius. So, buffer zone varies with the core zone, that is one of the important thing. And maps clearly delineating the location of various monitoring stations superimposed on the locations of habitats are to be shown. So, wherever you are taking, whether it is I mean to say dust collection point, all these things, they should be properly shown on the map. Indicate 2 kilometer, 5 kilometer distance from the boundary limits of the mine lease by appropriate line. This is one of the important things, like, because if you want to know the buffer zone, where is a 2 kilometers radius, where is a 5 kilometers, where is 10 kilometers, all these things should be done properly. Just like in case of surveying, we do construct some concrete pillars which are called benchmarks, like such type of constructions are required in the outside the mining lease areas to delineate or to show the buffer zones properly. And the land, baseline data on the land of mine leased area is to be described, total land available, proposed utilization of for different purposes, including built up area. So, justification for this. So, lease area has completed, how that land is going to be used. So, whether use it for building the houses or it is using for agriculture, these things need to be addressed in the EIA. And next, topography, the study area through topographical maps 1:50,000, showing all relevant details required for assessment of the proposed activities. Description in relation to the following given: slope and elevation, natural drainage system, land use pattern, habitation, cropping, forest cover, ecological sensitive features by employing remote sensing techniques. So, this is one of the important strategy actually, remote sensing, because it gives a clear picture in a shorter time, and how you are going to compensate, I mean to say how the habitation is there and how are they going to affected with the mining area and how we are going to overcome. Similarly, cropping, whether you can adjust also, because which type of soil suits which type of crops, forest cover, whether it is reduced or increased, ecological sensitive features, if any important I mean to say, for example, wildlife sanctuaries are there, then they need to be restored, all these things. Geological location, geology location of the project, geology of the area to be ascertained, seismic sensitivity, it also defines the layers of geological formation from which permeability and possible faults fissures can be known. So, through seismology only we can study about the geology. From that we may know, we can ascertain permeability and the presence of possible faults and fissures can be known. The study should include soil quality at representative monitoring station, type, classification, soil characteristics, fertility status of soil samples, pre-mining land use pattern, cropping pattern. So, the main purpose of doing analysis on the soil is to, I mean to say, if you want to convert the land to agriculture and or which crop suits which soil, all these things can be given idea, so that you can get good yield of that crop. And air environment, the study should include the following: climate and meteorology, IMD meteorological station, climatological data, wind rows, air quality monitoring station. So, these all should be addressed if you are going to for EIA, environment impact assessment, how the air quality is there before mining and after mining. If you want to keep that same as it is before mining, and what is the care you are going to take, you have to plant trees, all these things, you have to do water sprinkling, and you have to do various other things if you want to keep air intact or inherent just like before also. Surface water, location of representative monitoring stations showing direction and distance from the mining lease site, details of the rivers, springs, lakes, reservoirs, drains up to first order in state area. Physiochemical analysis including heavy metals. This is something just like a BOD, COD, biological oxygen demand, all these things need to be studied, because to know the potability of the water, all these things. Sometimes even effluents is there, they have to be sent proper way, otherwise they should not get mixed with lakes or reservoirs. So, whatever the drainage water, they have to be sent in a proper channel, and it should not try to connect with the existing springs or lakes. If you want to connect, you have to do I mean to say sewage treatment before sending it to the, that is one of the important aspects of right now the present mines, sewage treatment. Groundwater, since the mining is excavation of the earth, the groundwater is affected to the ground at a great extent. This study should include groundwater potential, recharge, budgeting, hydrogeology, aquifer characteristics, groundwater quality, groundwater potential. So whenever you do mining, the water table gets little bit down. Then how you people are going to I mean to say console this groundwater means you have to construct water dams or some check dams, such things nearby areas, so that water always comes and settles there, so that water table should be intact. And noise environment, the study should include location monitoring stations of noise measurements in accordance with the direction, distance from the sources, habitations, daytime, nighttime noise level monitoring, okay, vibration and error pressure caused due to blasting. So basically noise generally come due to the maximum due to blasting and drilling only, and some equipment. And how they can be taken care means, for example, blasting, it can be addressed in different ways, or sometimes generally blasting need to be done during the low barometric pressure, that is 12 noon to 2 p.m. so that wind flows very less, so that sound can't travel. And similarly during drilling also, using the sharp drill bits, all these things can reduce the noise. There are some things which can overcome, because this is noise which creates a lot of nuisance to the surrounding public. And flora, this is called means totally plants, all these things, because before mining how are the plants, and after mining how are the plants, and how are they going to get impacted, how you are going to console, all these things need to be addressed. Sometimes mainly all mining activity, they do plant trees in the areas kept for the purpose actually, because if they do such things, actually somewhere else something is getting damaged, and somewhere else your restoration works, that can be at least addressed. And fauna, this is called animal kingdom actually. Sometimes due to mining activity, some animals get shifted from one area to another area, but you can do some what you can create some zones for wildlife and do some restoration work also. So, and you have to create a statement how you are going to preserve the fauna which were existing before mining and after mining also. And socio-economic environment, the baseline study should cover the following: data on the demography, traditional skills, sources of livelihood within the study area, socio-economic profile of the people within 2, 5, 10 kilometers from the mine, human settlement, health status, sources of. Always wherever you take a mine, generally socio-economical life will be I mean to say increased actually, standard of living, but one should need to address these pollution things, actually air pollution, water pollution, noise pollution, or flora pollution, fauna pollution. But socio-economic environment generally it undertook, because they all mining or mine owners, they do take care of the residential people, they do construct hospitals, they do take care of sanitation, they do take care of water facilities, all these things. So generally socio-economic will be very good irrespective of these pollutions. Coming to water generation, the report should cover the following: solid waste, again here also BOD, COD, biological oxygen dividend, and SPM, that is suspended particles per minute, all these things before and after. And here also there effluent treatment plant, that is sewage treatment plant, there should be there in every mines if you are having water as the drainage pattern, and it should be proper actually, so that we can use that water for agriculture also. And so far we have covered types of zones, for example core zone and buffer zone, and similarly how various things are impacted, land, flora, fauna, all these things, and how we are going to overcome these things. Thank you.